Brothers and sisters, welcome to episode number 177 in the Gospel of John. Today, don't let your betrayal be the last time that we hear from you. We're going to remember the betrayal of Peter and then watch his restoration today. Remember his betrayal. It was public, it was vehement, it was repeated, it was durable, it was over a significant amount of time. So how do you fix something like that? Can it even be restored? When you punch a guy in the nose, what happens? Well, watch Jesus work in today's story. So a big betrayal, which this certainly counts as, requires a big restoration. And if Peter is not beyond saving from this situation, then none of us are. This gives us such hope. So if we graphed out your spiritual walk, does it demonstrate this steady, perfect, increase of faithfulness and holiness? Or does it have some up and downs? So we just got done with the refusal to believe of Thomas. And the Lord ultimately grants him grace beyond what he earns and grace beyond what he deserved. So the point here is that the Lord is in the restoration business, and we're going to see it here today. So how could it not be? Well, what kind of people does he deal with? Sinners, betrayers, crucifiers, and in our story today, sheep. He refers to people as sheep. So watch the Lord do his restoration business with Peter. Here's our official verse. We're only going to read one verse. It's John 21:15. Jesus has been risen from the dead. He's gone, seen the disciples in Jerusalem. Now they've gone back to Galilee, to their hometown. They returned to fishing for at least a second. Jesus calls to them from the shore. They come over and they have breakfast. Verse 15 of John 21. This is the second to the last paragraph in the Gospel of John. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these, more than the boats and all the stuff?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Very interesting. He said to him, "Feed my sheep." So let's notice with me a couple of things. First of all, this is a public event. So they're at breakfast with 7 disciples. It's a public problem. Peter's betrayal was public. And so, as is typical, a public solution is required. Secondly, it's personal. Peter, I see you, I saw you, and now I'm here to restore you. Thirdly, it's a process. So this is not, we're kind of interrupt Peter's restoration and repentance process. So Jesus doesn't say to him, as he does to some people, forgiveness is available for those who theoretically come to repentance in sorrow and in grief and in brokenness. So you may ask, well, where is Peter actually saying to the Lord, I am sorry. I have done wrong. I betrayed you. I'm not worthy of a relationship with you. I deserve wrath and punishment. Please forgive me. Well, in my humble opinion, Peter has already done all of that. We're way past this right now. So Peter has already done the hard work of repentance. And he distinguishes himself here by coming full circle in the process to a point of restoration. So imagine Peter, knowing that you played a direct role in the crucifixion of Jesus, that the crucifixion was your fault in a direct way, that you could have done differently in a very critical moment. You could have changed the crucifixion story, that you would have done differently if you would have to do it over again. So let's go back to his betrayal. This is from Luke chapter 22, verse 59. This is his third accusation. Certainly this man, Peter, was with him, Jesus, for he too is a Galilean. But Peter said to him, "Man, I do not know what you're talking about." He actually curses this guy, this gal, I think, and says, "I don't know what you're talking about." And immediately while he was still speaking, the rooster crows. That's the second worst thing that happened. Here's the worst thing that happened. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered, so the good news, Peter, he starts this repentance process. He remembered the saying of the Lord and how he said to him, "Before the rooster crows today, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out, that's not so good, and he wept bitterly, that's good. So he thinks about it, he weeps. Matthew says he weeps bitterly with agony. He is ashamed, he runs away, he went out. He remembered what Jesus said, and he remembered how Jesus said to him before the rooster crowed. Now, what is his response? His first response is, separation. He separates himself from the Lord. He increases the distance between himself and Jesus. Now, think about this. This could have been the last time in the Bible that we heard from Peter. Now, as you know, the Bible is not a story of a 100% story of rainbows and puppies. Think of Judas. Judas ends his story, same deal. Betrays the Lord, separates himself from the Lord, and ends his life. He never gets restored. But for Peter, the story doesn't end there. Peter says to the Lord, "You know that I love you." Well, how does Jesus know this? Well, first of all, he knows everything. But Peter has demonstrated a couple things. And here it is. Peter comes back. Let me say it again. Peter comes back. He runs back. He returns to the room where the disciples are. He rejoins the fellowship. He runs to the tomb. And just before today's story, one line above this, is he hurls himself into the sea towards Jesus. Peter comes back. All right, let me draw some conclusions here. The Lord is in the restoration business. So let's think about your sin, my sin. What's the worst you've ever done in opposition to God? What's your worst thing? What's the thing you're most ashamed of? Do we have a God that's big enough to fix even that? So, and do you, maybe even like Peter, have an issue which caused directly or indirectly the crucifixion? Could God even forgive that? Can God restore the relationship? Well, where could I find the examples of the great, great mercy of God? What kind of sins and betrayals does the Lord forgive? So here's Peter. He's got one of the most embarrassing stories in all of the Bible. Why is it in there? Well, so that he can show you the most wonderful part of this story, which is this restoration. So have you betrayed the Lord? Have you broken relationship? Are you separating? If so, you're in good company. Peter, Thomas, Judas all did the exact same thing. And you have the example of two of the greatest examples of restoration, Thomas and Peter. So don't let your betrayal be the last time we hear from you. Like Peter, you went out. You increased the distance. Of course you did. That's what sheep do. So let's do what Peter did, which he does the hard work of saying, I am wrong. The hard emotion of knowing that he helped cause the crucifixion. He considers, he weeps, he goes away, he runs away, but the story doesn't end there. Like it did for Judas. Judas doesn't come back. So don't let your betrayal be the last time we hear from you. Peter comes back, and so can you. Please come back. Thanks for listening.